Well, hello again. It's been a couple of weeks. I've been fighting a cold, but I didn't want to get through the end of December without doing at least the December art snacks. So why don't we take a look at that together? Let's see what kind of presents they sent us this month. Oh, that's not good. Looks like it came loose and some of the, is that ink? Some of the ink went all over. That's not irreparable. These things happen. Got bubble gum. This ink came in okay. Get rid of the box. Okay, some water brushes. And of course the lovely sticker with lights on it this time. Find some place to stick that one. Sennelier ink brush. Lemon yellow. Okay. Okay, so we have yellow ink brush. Which comes open way too easily. Yeah, I'm going to have to read the instructions on that. There's got to be some trick to that one. Okay, so that's... Lid does not come off or go on very easily. So we've got lemon yellow. This I assume is for plain water for the other inks. And blue ink. It's pretty blue. They're calling it cyan. That doesn't look like cyan to me. It's just blue. Graphics. Marabou. I get their pins sometimes in the box too. They're pretty good. Okay, let's see if we can get this one out here without getting it everywhere. Yeah, no, I think I need a paper towel. Okay, let's try that again, this time with paper towels and water. This is not uncommon. It's why they started putting them in plastic bags in the first place. I've gotten a few of these that came this way, different brands. It's not really ArtSnacks' fault. It's just a thing that happens. Okay, oh no, it's dry. It was so shiny I thought maybe it was still wet, but it's dry. Let's see if we can open it though. Okay, carmine red. What have we got? Aqua ink, watercolor. Let's Try reading it on one that's not blocked. Ultra brilliant pigmented watercolor ink. Shake vigorously. So I'm going to guess it's not waterproof once it is dry. There we go, squeezing it a bit here. I don't know if you can see that. Wow. Okay, so it's like a very messy marker. Soaks in very quickly. Put some over here for swatching. It's got a bit of a smell too. Nice and bright. It's soaking in directly into the cardboard though very quickly. Yes, these are just watercolor paints basically. They come back up if you get them wet after they've gone down. So literally just watercolor paints. Let's see about getting this to work here. Ah, there we go. Okay. So here it's got a slide. So we need this in a way that the camera can see it. Didn't really pick up much water that way, but let's try again. Okay, now it's full. Oh yeah, on my hands already. So there's a button here that's supposed to control the amount of water. But when you press the button, instead of pushing a little bit on the brush, it is, I can't show you because of gravity. Yeah, let me see if I can get this from the side here. See, it's not really going down onto the brush per se. It's just coming out the side. And I'm hardly pressing. And the blue. pretty blue. Let's try some mixing here. You know, in spite of what I've said so far, I do like these colors. These are very nice colors. Let's see about. Colors will definitely get used. I'm not so sure about the brush pens. This is drying pretty fast around the edge here, so that's positive. You can even see it. I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera. You can see the edge right along there. About mixing on the brush. Ugh. Well, I mean, it's a thing, I guess. I'm gonna need some really thick paper for this, so it's gonna get soupy really fast. This month's box gets a big oof from me. I enjoyed the colors, and that's about it. Let's go through them all individually and talk about what happened with them. So the first one is the Sennelier ink brush pen. Again, I like the color, and Sennelier is a very good brand. I buy a lot of their products. So I was very surprised at how difficult to use this was. Um, for one thing, the lid is very difficult to take off. And then the bristles themselves, now granted it's a brush pen, so it's synthetic bristles, and I'm expecting it to be a little difficult to use, not quite like a real brush. But it ran out of ink partway through, in the middle of a stroke, and then it would be globby again. It just was not very even. It's a very good yellow though. I probably will keep it to use for places where I just need to brush something like a glaze over the top. So it will get used, but not very often. And it does look like maybe you can, maybe refill it afterwards. It's got a totally different well here, so you might be able to buy a replacement, I'm not sure. This one would be okay for traveling, I guess. I would be worried about it leaking once it's been opened once, though. The second item, well, second and third item, is the Marabou Graphics Aqua Inks. These up here where you can get a good look at them. I like the colors. The ink itself is fine. It's watercolor ink, and which means that it's going to come up when you put something over the top of it. So unlike the inks I normally use, which are waterproof, this will only be able to go down as a last coat if I decide to use it like an ink as opposed to a watercolor. The ink itself was okay. This is what these looked like dried. And it diluted okay. They meshed together very well. This was a dual color on the brush to see how that worked. They were sufficient. They'll definitely get used again, but I think I'm going to have to keep them with my watercolors instead of with my inks. The last one is the Faber-Castell Deluxe Water Brush. This is where my problems came in. So Faber-Castell is generally a hit or miss brand for me. The pencils are fine. Aside from that, it just depends. The idea of this brush works great. It looks good. It's very comfortable to hold. But the amount of water that it holds is not really enough for it to be the only thing you take with you. Like if you were going to use this for traveling, you wouldn't be able to just fill this up and go. And my biggest problem with this is that it leaks. So when I was trying to paint with it, I would be getting blobs of water coming from the back here. See, it's not just coming from the tip, it's coming from back here too. And so this might be okay to use if you wanted to place down a lot of water quickly and then dab the color into the water. Might use it for that. I would not use this for traveling though, because it is so messy. I ended up, my hands were just covered in water and paint by the time I was done using it. And the brush, let's see if I can, the brush itself, I felt like I had no control over it. It doesn't feel like, just to touch it, it doesn't feel bad, but it did not hold its shape very well while I was using it, and it had a tendency to twist. So it was okay for large strokes, but trying to do any kind of detail with it, it just didn't hold its shape well enough for that. So I don't know if I'm even going to keep that. I might find a kid to give it to or something. What did you think of this month's box? If you get ArtSnacks or one of the other monthly boxes, put a link in the comments to show us your artwork for this month, and let us know what you thought of your box. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you want to be notified when I post new videos, click the bell. And I wish you all a safe and happy new year. See you next year.